Kia ora, g'day, welcome back once again. Here in this video, we're going to have a look at, so this link was sent through another request in regards to fake news stuff. Fake news, ABC exposed by phony drug dealer. Holy heck, what's going on here? So anyway, let's have a look. This one's about a week or so old, so let's jump into this one.
Well, this is just embarrassing. Have you caught up with the fake news scandal involving the ABC? It's getting bigger. It involves Four Corners, the
ABC airing BS constantly and involves Four Corners. Isn't that ABC News's premier documentary truth-telling mainstream media program?
flagship current affairs program. And some of the biggest names in journalism have
Flagship, there you
filed
go.
stories for Four Corners, but now it's caught up in this very grubby controversy. It involves phony drug kingpins, reporters using friends posing as criminals, and taxpayers being roped in to hire a $300,000 Mercedes-Benz. The ABC has been deleting stories left, right and centre, featuring their former star reporter Mahmoud Fazal. Some of the now
Featuring their former star reporter Mahmoud Fazal. Is he one of the Afghan witnesses in the war crimes allegations? Holy heck. ABC, airing BS constantly. And they're, what did he say? They're deleting videos or whatever, stories, documentaries, left, right, and centre. Everything ABC and mainstream media puts out is all true. Mahmoud Fazal.
deleted reports featured a masked underworld figure who the ABC called Remy. Remy was bragging about being a big-time cocaine dealer and driving around in a $300,000 car. But there's something that the reporter Mahmoud Fazal didn't reveal to anyone watching the ABC. Remy was actually his friend, Carissa Habtook. He didn't tell anyone that. The Sydney rapper claimed she agreed to pretend to be Remy as a favour for the Four Corners reporter. She appeared as Remy on a program called
This is crazy. I would have thought that surely the Australian government, the Australian law enforcement, the federal police, the ones that work in collaboration with the media, that leak information when and where an arrest is going to take place, that there would be some means of power that they can exercise in order to discover the identity of people like these con artists here. One, the con artist, the Blinken presenter, and two, his con artist friend, who I think they said she's a rapper, and she's volunteered to do this as a favor, by the sounds of things, for her mate. Surely, if the media are going to be broadcasting, I've never seen this story, but if the media from any organization, I don't care, just so happens that this is ABC, if they're going to be broadcasting any sort of underworld criminal figure that's, in this case, a cocaine dealer, and dealing significant amounts that equates to them being a supplier or whatever the highest charges that they could get, I would have thought that the government and that the policies that are in place would be able to compel the media to be able to release that information so that they can then go and execute the rest and remove this crap off the streets. Oh man, this is crazy.
Nation back in 2023. She's now blowing the whistle, saying it was all a con job.
I played a role that they needed. You know, when like people need roles played in certain docos and that, and there's people who look the part that can fill it. Yeah, that's what was happening.
So she was driving around on the ABC in a $360,000 Mercedes-Benz AMG G63, acting like some big-time drug dealer. But the car was a rental and taxpayers were paying for it. The ABC picked up the bill for the Mercedes rental, which means you picked up the bill for the Mercedes rental.
Holy heck. This is what I mean. Like mainstream media, ABC, they don't care. It's not their money. As long as it gets them the story, as long as they get the ratings, and they must do well out of it, I presume. They don't care what happens with the public funding money that's coming into, that's been funneled into that organization and basically going into the pockets of those in the higher up positions within that organization. And it's been able to easily corrupt the simple minds of many people out there who consume media. Nothing wrong with consuming media in the news, but holy heck, when you are supposedly mainstream media, which is supposed to be the trusted source, depending or according to the Dumbanese government over there in Australia, there's somewhat of an expectation that the government is going to hold to account that organization in regards to the stories that they produce, the information that they put out, and how they run their organization. What's going to happen here in this case? Probably nothing.
And then they put the story to air showing the fake drug dealer driving around in the rented Merc. The host of Media Watch, Linton Besser, has called out his colleagues at Four Corners.
One claim she made in her video that we have been able to establish is she did not pay for this fancy car. The ABC did. So when the program put this to air...
The Australian public did, more correctly, not the ABC.
I got some nice wheels, driver, take you a few spots around Sydney, tell you some stories, show you some things.
Someone in the Four Corners team must have known the audience was being misled.
And the ABC's also removed an episode of Background Briefing featuring Remy. This is in addition to the Four Corners episodes, Cocaine Nation and Meth Highway, that have also now been taken down. This is highly embarrassing for the ABC. And one person who appeared on Four Corners...
Highly embarrassing? It should be prosecutable, shouldn't it? Shouldn't it be like that? However many dollars have been spent in taxpayer money alone just on the hiring of the car, then the collusion that's gone into creating and fabricating a story for the purpose of ratings and clicks and all that sort of stuff and viewership, basically telling flat out lies to the Australian public. Surely isn't that prosecutable? Hammerhead, you're a lawyer, apparently. Well, what's the deal, bruz? What's your media outlet up to? This is nuts.
Used 2 different names and played 3 different roles. It's amazing what a face mask can do.
But what of Mahmoud Fazal's central claim that Remy was a dealer to corporate bigwigs pulling down big money? She now claims...
All of that is a complete fable. There's no validity to it. He knew...
Carissa Hubcook. At least she's showing her mask, showing her face. She's coming out saying this is all made up. It's a complete fable. There's no validity to it. He knew I could play the part and look the part. Really? Did you look the part? You just look like some hyperactive teenager under that mask. Talking and then go around, go for a drive, show you some things. It's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe that's the lingo for cocaine dealers.
I could play the part and look the part.
And this location...
Remy operated a trap house, a place where drugs are dealt, deep in the guts of this building.
She now says was never her trap house.
That was just the place I used to party when I was 18.
So how does Carissa Hubcook say she ended up wearing a disguise on national television?
We have...
Who does the checks for validity within the mainstream media organization? Or do they just run this high trust model of their reporters, their investigative journalists, and just let them run their own race? Because if that happens, then the journalist who's fabricated the story must be the one that's going to get prosecuted, or should get prosecuted, or should at least be fined, and the company should suffer some consequences in some way, shape, or form. What that is, I don't know. That's I would assume that's for the government to figure out and apply. Defunding would be a good idea and a good start.
friends in common. He approached me on Instagram. I need someone. Do you know anyone? And he said, would you be willing to do it? He said this was his shot to secure his work at the ABC if he could get this story up. I felt bad for him and I thought, why not?
So she's a rapper, this lady. She's not a drug dealer. The reporter...
Are they going to play any... Oh, probably not. I was going to say, are they going to play any of her rap? Maybe I need to do a Google search for Carissa Hubcook, the rapper. Bless her, eh? Wanted to look out for her friend. If that's the case, what's changed now? What has changed whereby you now want to come out and basically stab your mate in the back and go, I don't like you anymore. I'm going to come out and blink and dob you in. This was all made up. Here I am, world. This is mad.
Reached out through Instagram. She felt sorry for him, so she pretended to be a drug baron. And they managed to fool the bosses at Four Corners and others at the ABC. How gullible can you get?
Well, I mean, if they did legitimately fool the bosses at ABC and Four Corners, I don't know if you can just completely blame them. I mean, how gullible can you get? I mean, that could be put towards the whole of the Australian population. Because likely people gobbled that story up. I've never seen it before, but likely, and we probably can't see it now that it's been pulled down apparently, but people probably gobbled that story up and thought, holy heck, this is happening right under our noses. And that sort of stuff likely is the cocaine drug trade and all that sort of stuff. Just like organized crime is happening right under the noses of everyday people all around the world, regardless of where you're from. So, it's not that I want to defend the ABC head shed and or the producers, whatever their roles are, but they've clearly fooled more than just the supposed head sheds at ABC and or, dare I say, Four Corners.
An old boss of mine once said, real drug dealers don't appear on TV. And the controversy isn't finished because Mahmoud Fazal, the reporter, reckons he was not acting alone.
If there were questions about a source or a fact, we hashed it out internally at the time and made a call. And it wasn't me making the call.
So you hashed it out internally and made a call. But were you giving them the truth, Mahmoud? Were you giving these people that are adding to, and that makes sense. Like, that part to me sounds honest. Like, there's a group of people, they're hashing out whatever it is, whether it's the angle, whether it's what are going to be the juicy bits of the story. That part all makes sense to me. But did old Mahmoud, did you tell your leaders or these people that you're hashing things out with that actually, you know what, I've just made this up. I'm doing this to secure my job here with the ABC. She's actually my friend. She's a rapper. Don't tell anybody though. What do you reckon? Should we go with it? That's a different story, right? If that's what Mahmoud shared with these producers, decision makers for running with the show or the documentary around the cocaine trade in Australia or that part of Australia, then that's a very different conversation. That means that people in that decision-making space were fully aware that this was a crock of shit, a complete lie, and they decided to run with the story anyway.
Who was it? That's now the subject of an internal ABC probe. Four Corners is supposed to be the flagship probe.
Hang on. That's now the subject of an internal ABC probe. Well, that's going to produce truck all, eh? Just like I said, like earlier at the start, what's going to be the consequences? Likely nothing, I think is what I mentioned. An internal ABC probe. Nothing's going to happen. Again, where is the government? Well, the Labor government, ABC, Four Corners, those are their friends, right? So they're not going to upset the apple cart. They're going to keep things flowing. They're going to keep the money pumping in there from the everyday Australian taxpayer to keep funding the fraudulent BS that they're putting out constantly through their show. Wow.
Program for current affairs at the ABC, but they were getting confused between drama and news.
All right. Well, that's that, eh? A 4.5 minute video. It's taken me nearly 15 minutes to get through that. It's nuts, man. I don't know if there's anything else to say. Like, people are still very much brainwashed by mainstream media. The Labor government is concerned and understands that there is a significant lack of trust, depending on who you are, in terms of mainstream media and the narratives that they put out there. And there is a concern about independent media, individuals doing their thing and calling out mainstream media. And or other, I assume 2GB is another mainstream media type organization, who are likely and have likely got good people in there trying to do their best, and in this case trying to call out another mainstream media. I'd like to think that there are some good people within those mainstream media organizations who genuinely are trying to do the right thing. But sadly, they're just caught up in the ABCs of the world that just air BS constantly. And there seems to be no repercussions for it other than an internal probe, an internal investigation. Essentially, they're auditing themselves only to come back out and go, yeah, nothing to see here. If we ever hear anything at all. I don't know. What are your thoughts, man? Whack your thoughts in the comments. This is an Australian piece, but no doubt I would assume this stuff probably happens in every mainstream media organization. Crazy. Anyway, appreciate your time and support. Be interested to hear your thoughts. If you're new here, feel free, or you're invited to subscribe and like the channel. It definitely is appreciated, and it'll help my little space to continue to enjoy the growth that it has been enjoying at this time. If you feel like it, do it. If you don't, that's all good as well. But yeah, appreciate your time and support. Those that have been supporting the channel, if you're new here and supporting the channel, thank you all very much. You'll see me, or I'll see you, you'll see me on the next one.